Christy here. I'm super happy to see you. If you don't know me, my name is Christy Lawrence with Time to Profit, and I help small business owners to really supercharge their sales by making the sales process simple, effective, and rewarding both for the business owner and for the prospects that you're working with. And I primarily do that by helping small business owners focus on some core parts of the sales process, and that includes generating leads, starting conversations with the right people, asking people the right questions at the right time to move conversations forward, and then ultimately, and probably most importantly for a lot of you, especially given our topic today, getting really good at inviting people to work with you so that you can close more sales. Well, we're going to talk about why we shouldn't close sales, but why you can win more sales. So today we're actually going to talk about why you should never be closing. So I don't know about you, but this word closing just makes me cringe. I hate it. And I don't know if it had traction before, Boiler Room with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's in there and he's like, always be closing, ABC. But even in my sales career, for a lot of times, one of our things that we were evaluated on when a manager would come out and work with you in the field was how effective you were at closing. Were you closing them? And what I hate about it is I think that's actually, Phil, it's not just semantics here, but it really is the opposite of what we want to do in sales. What we want to be doing in sales is opening sales, starting conversations, right? Sales is really about the starting of new relationships, the starting of conversations, the starting of service. And once people decide to buy, that is just the next phase of the relationship. And oftentimes, a lot of business owners make the mistake of focusing so much on sales. There's all this energy, all this thought, all this engagement. And then once the sale happens, it gets kind of quiet. And really what you need to think about here is that saying yes, that they want to work with you, or signing up for a course or signing a contract, that's just the beginning of the relationship. So here's really what I want you to think about right now when it comes to kind of this agreement phase. Most sales are won or lost long before the agreement phase, long before we start kind of asking those inviting questions, right? Proposing. But what happens is we don't ask the right questions throughout the process and move the process forward strategically. And so our prospects already have decided whether or not they want to work with us. We just aren't aware of what they're thinking. And we're going to dive a lot more into that in the coming weeks. I'm actually working on a course for you guys right now, specifically around how to ask to win more business and really becoming a master at asking. But what I want you to think about for today is if you're struggling with this ending, this agreement, this proposing, right? Traditionally what we'd call closing part of the sale, is to just take that out of the equation. Stop thinking about the end of the sales conversation and start focusing more on what happens next. And so when I say that, I want you to think about what is the smallest next step that I want the prospect to take after this conversation. So let me give you an example. So I have big news. I sold my house up in Washington. We're under contract, which is really exciting for me, but also kind of sad. But so our real estate, we're going to have real estate examples today, right? So say you're a real estate agent. You are out at a networking event. You're starting a conversation with somebody who's new to the area. And they tell you, yeah, we just moved here, we're renting, we signed a 6-month lease, we'd like to buy a house, but probably at least 6 months, if not a year out. Okay, they've given you a lot of information. Now, what do you do with that information? A lot of times we feel like we have the option of saying, here's my card. When you're ready, call me and I'd be happy to help. Or, hey, I can help you with that. Or we just say, welcome to the area, and don't say anything at all. But there's this really cool opportunity to start this conversation now when you think about it in terms of opening and the next step versus closing. And in this specific conversation, it might sound something like this. Oh, wow, welcome to the area. I am so glad that you're here. There's a lot of things that happen in the home buying process in our particular market that are unique to here. I know you're probably not ready to go look at houses or decide what agent to work with, but I would just love to take you out to coffee and get to know you better and hear a little bit about your goals and see if I can pull together some resources that you can start thinking about now, so that when you get to that next phase and you're ready to start taking action, you feel more prepared and you have the right information. Does that sound like something that would be helpful for you? Now, I want you to really, really pay attention to that last thing that I just said. Would that be helpful for you, right? This is the important part that we often forget about. And, tactically speaking, a lot of times you'll hear this referred to as a trial close, or you'll hear it referred to kind of as a temperature check. Where are you on this? But to me, I really think you're just checking in with your prospects on alignment. I think of it as kind of giving people on-ramps and off-ramps. If they say yes, you've given an on-ramp to move forward in the next step and how to make that happen. And if they say no, I don't really feel like I want to do that right now. We've got too much going on with schools. No big deal. Do you mind if I reach out again in a few months, right? Like, there's so many next steps. And when we are just so focused on the next step being the close or winning the deal, we miss so many opportunities. So I feel like I just went into a lot of things we're looking at the time here, 6 minutes. I want to hear from you as you're thinking about this and you're thinking about starting and the next step for you. What questions do you have? Where are you feeling stuck in this kind of transitioning to the next step and asking people to move forward in the process and giving them on-ramps and off-ramps? Share those in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. And then what I really want you to do for the next week is to really just think about when you're having a conversation with somebody, whether it's a brand new prospect, whether it's somebody that you've been engaged with over the time, what is the next smallest step that makes sense for that person to take? And to really just check in with them and see if that's something they want to do. See if that's something that they're interested in. We're going to go a lot more into this, but I want you to really, really just shift that mindset from closing to really thinking about for moving forward, starting, opening, right? Those are much more really what sales are about than this idea of closing, which we don't want to be doing anyways. That, right? Like, just let's take closing off the table. We're not going to close any sales. That doesn't mean we're not going to win deals and win customers and grow our businesses, but we're not going to do it through closing. We're going to do it through openings and asking and starting. So share your comments below. Let me know kind of as you go through and you practice this, what is the next step that you're asking for in your clients? And if you want more tools on how to help you grow your attitude and your aptitude around sales and simplify the process so that you can win more customers and have the process be simple and rewarding for you and your prospects, head on over to mytimetoprofit.com. There's some great free resources for you there on the website, including some sales planning tools and a sales checklist. Again, that's www.mytimetoprofit.com.